And at no point did I know that this was taken away. At no point did they actually reveal that it was taken away. Like even when I was detained, they didn't go, "Hey, you don't have global entry. Get your dad to help you out." What the can my dad do, bro? What are you, stupid? So date of denial and reason for the letter they received, all this stuff. This is just basically, again, boilerplate. So everything. All right, let's blast off. Also, I got an update. The Department of Homeland Security. I was doing an interview with some Japanese newspaper this morning, and I looked through my emails to find whether or not the Department of Homeland Security had responded to my redress over my trip, and they have. They have responded. Actually, as a matter of fact, they responded this past Monday. Okay. But in the process of their response, I also found out that a while back, they had also revoked my global entry. So I finally got a response back from the Department of Homeland Security. But they had already taken away my global entry clearance months prior. Now, global entry is, for those of you who don't know, they've revoked it before my entry, and I didn't even know. And what's even crazier is at no point did they even mention that they had revoked my global entry. They don't even mention it in the redress letter, which is so psychotic. They never, no one had ever even informed me, and neither did the Department of Homeland Security, even in the redress letter, because in the redress letter, I actually mentioned that I have global entry and I'm a known traveler, because global entry means you are a known, trusted traveler. Okay. That means that the Department of Homeland Security looked through your entire, your entire profile. I talked about this before. They looked through my, my criminal background, everything, right? Where I've lived, all this stuff, and decided that I am fine to get expedited access into the country and not sit in the same line. It's basically, global entry can be revoked for really silly reasons as well, by the way, or I mean, I guess technically good reasons, but like, for those of you who don't know, if you bring a banana into the country and they actually find that you brought a banana into the country, it's over. You are no longer allowed to have global entry because you've brought in an agricultural product that could be damaging to the natural ecosystem. So like, it's stuff like that. It's basically TSA pre-check for international travelers. It's like the higher degree of TSA pre-check for those of you who don't know. Having said that, of course, no, it's not specific to California. Global entry is California, or not California, America. Okay. Now listen. Bananas are dangerous. Yes. Agricultural products. Yes, agricultural products could be considered dangerous to the natural wildlife. This is something that I understand. This is something that I think is perfectly valid for the government to be. This is one of the aspects of global, like TSA, or not TSA, sorry, DHS's like actual primary roles. Customs and Border Patrol's primary role is to make sure that you're not smuggling seeds or some into the country, or harmful. Like you might be carrying harmful bacteria or whatever. Like that is their job. That's like the only job that they have. To ensure that there aren't invasive species that are coming into the country. Okay. And disrupting the ecosystem. Anyway, listen, whatever. Invasive species, all this stuff. Now, what's interesting, however, about this entire process is they did not tell me what the reason for the revocation of global entry was. Because I looked it up and, okay, it says, "Dear Hasan Piker, thank you for your participation in the Global Entry Program of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Global Entry is a voluntary program available to travelers that pass a comprehensive background investigation. Applicants found to be ineligible for Global Entry participation may still be permitted to enter into the United States, although they will not be permitted to use the Global Entry lanes. We regret to inform you that your membership in Global Entry has been revoked for the following reason," in parentheses S, reasons. There's a big space there. And the only thing that it says is, "You do not meet program eligibility requirements." This is after they gave it to me. So that's it. Was it revoked before Trump's inauguration? No, after. I got conditional approval before, way before Trump. I got conditional approval in 2024. I got a full-blown approval notification on after Donald Trump's inauguration on 2/6, and then the revocation on 3/5. And I didn't even know that it was revoked. And it's really interesting because when I entered the country through global entry, they didn't even actually tell me that I didn't have global entry. At no point in that detention did they ever say I don't have global entry. When the Customs and Border Patrol, when the Department of Homeland Security released a statement, they didn't say, like, it was not even a consideration at all, which is very interesting. I think they let you reapply in a year. I don't think I'm going to reapply in a year. Now, global entry simply is, yo, Hasan, XUC reacted to your take on the ICE protests. Just wanted to say you're 100% right. You weren't defending property damage. You were making a moral consistency argument. If people are mad about businesses getting hit, they should be 10x as mad about immigrants losing everything with no due process. The problem isn't you being a radical. It's people being desensitized to systemic violence. Keep pushing through the noise. Hell yeah. Yeah, I have a global entry card. They mailed it to me. I have it. I used it. In any case, it's not that significant. The global entry revocation is not that significant. They also, like I was saying, the only reason why I found out about this is because I was looking through my email to see what my redress, I found my trip redress from the Department of Homeland Security, where 2 days ago on Monday, June 19th, I got an email that said, "Thank you for submitting your request for redress to the Department of Homeland Security Traveler Redress Inquiry Program, DHS TRIP. DHS TRIP has researched and completed its review of the redress case for Hasan Piker." And then it tells you to go and access your account on the website, okay? Or June 9th, sorry, not 19th. I apologize. June 9th, okay? And basically, the entire letter for the TRIP redress inquiry is just... It's like more obscure. It is more obscure than like a Twitch TOS ban. Okay. You know how people complain about Twitch not giving you information, like detailed information on why you got banned and shit? It is literally identical to the TOS sheet that they send you, if you're lucky at all to receive one after getting suspended from Twitch. Okay. It basically just offered me a wholesale list of reasons for why people get stopped. Here it is. Let's pull this up like here. Dear Hasan Piker, thank you for submitting your traveler inquiry form and identity documentation to the Department of Homeland Security Traveler Redress Inquiry Program, DHS TRIP. DHS's mission is to lead the unified national efforts to secure the country, including U.S. border and transportation security. We take requests for redress seriously, and we understand the inconveniences that additional inspections may cause. DHS strives to process travelers in the most efficient and professional manner possible without compromising our mission to safeguard the United States, its people, and its visitors. When DHS TRIP receives a redress inquiry, we conduct a thorough review of the matter. We consult and share information with other agencies when appropriate to relieve you from the burden of seeking redress of an agency-by-agency basis to address the issue that you identified in your application. We have found about 2% of DHS TRIP complainants actually have some connection to the terrorist watch list. Complaints most often arise either because the traveler's name and personal information is similar to the name and personal information of another person in the systems. This is actually what I hear most often from people. No. They're not saying I am related to the terrorist watch list. This is just a copy-paste statement that everybody gets. Okay? Calm down before you misunderstand it. This is literally just like this is a blanket statement that everyone receives when they write a complaint. This is all it is. It's boilerplate. It's not specific to me. You guys are failing to understand. Complaints most often arise because the traveler's name and personal information is similar to the name and personal information of another person in systems which contain information from federal, state, local, and foreign sources, or because the traveler has been delayed in travel for reasons unrelated to such data, such as by random screening. DHS TRIP has researched and completed our review of your case. DHS TRIP, this part is amazing, can neither confirm nor deny any information about you which may be within federal watch lists or reveal any law enforcement sensitive information. However, we have made any corrections to records that our inquiries determined were necessary, including, as appropriate, notations that may assist in avoiding incidents of misidentification. For your general information, here's how redress helps you when traveling. It's like, again, that's just general information. Give me why I got Like, I'm asking why I got specifically detained, and they're just like, listen, we can't confirm or deny what it is, but we've made necessary changes. Okay. When traveling by air or within the United States, DHS recommends that you provide your redress control number located at the top of this letter when making your reservations. Providing this information will help prevent misidentifications from occurring during security checks against government records and other information. Now, my name is Hasan Piker. I know that I am not, I know that my name is not getting dinged on any sort of watch list because it's like similar to someone who's already on a terrorist watch list or something. Okay. Because that is very common. I've asked like a bunch of people, a lot of Muslims, okay, who have, you know, especially like Arab names that will oftentimes get stopped for this reason. Hasan Piker is not a common name at all. I mean, Hasan is, but Piker is a very unique last name. I know this because my grandfather literally chose it, okay? My grandfather chose it in the surname revolution in Turkey. Not exactly a common last name. Anyway, when traveling by air within the United States, providing this information will help prevent misidentifications from occurring during security checks against government records and other information. In most online reservation systems, your redress control number may be entered at the same time you enter your full name and date of birth. When entering the United States from abroad, no additional action is required. Where appropriate, as a result of the redress process, a DHS employs a procedure to correct the information used to process travelers at the ports of entry that reduces the chance of misidentifications occurring. There's the second page here, which is really funny. Despite these positive efforts, we cannot ensure your travel will be delay-free. The redress process does not affect other standard screening procedures in place at airports and borders. For example, an individual may be selected for additional screening in order to resolve a walk-through metal detector alarm because of random selection or other reasons. While this process may sometimes be stressful, we rely on the patience and cooperation and understanding of travelers in such cases. This is just boilerplate, okay? In your redress inquiry, you've raised concerns which fall under the purview of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. We attach the CBP's response to you on those specific concerns raised in your redress inquiry. Okay, that was from the Department of Homeland Security. So let's take a look at what the Customs and Border Patrol's response was, because the previous one we just read was DHS. Okay, Customs and Border Patrol says, wait, hold on. Is this a Mihawk upscale? Take off the jersey, Hasan. Customs and Border Patrol is tasked with protecting our nation's borders as well as enforcing numerous laws, blah, 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 blah. Government agencies, including state and local enforcement. Again, boilerplate, boilerplate. Occasionally, CBP may inconvenience law-abiding persons in an effort to detect, deter. After careful review, we have determined that your global entry program membership was revoked because you don't meet the guidelines of the program for program participation. An individual is ineligible to participate in the trusted traveler programs if Customs and Border Patrol, at its sole discretion, determines that the individual presents a potential risk for terrorism, criminality, violating customs, agriculture, and/or immigration laws, or is otherwise not a low-risk traveler. This risk determination will be based in part on an applicant's ability to demonstrate past compliance with laws, regulations, or policies. Okay? Reasons why an applicant may not qualify for participation include, but is not limited to, this applicant provides false or incomplete information on the application. The applicant has been arrested for or convicted of any criminal offense or has denied firearms transactions, pending criminal charges, protection orders. Applicant has been found in violation of any customs, immigration, or agricultural regulations. Obviously, none of this works for me, okay? None of these things. This is, again, boilerplate, boilerplate, boilerplate. This is not, they're not saying I'm a terrorist. They're saying that if you are on a watch list, like these are some of the common reasons as to why people, you know, are no longer eligible to be on it. None of this applies to me. The whole point is that none of this literally applies to me at all, unless there's something I don't know, like I'm a subject of a ongoing investigation or something. But once again, that would be ridiculous because I am a law-abiding citizen and have never done any crimes whatsoever. So I wonder if this has something to do with the anti-Israel stuff specifically, because once again, as I told you, I got the application. I applied for global entry and became a known trusted traveler and got global entry. For those of you who don't know, global entry is a Department of Homeland Security protocol where you go there, they look through your whole criminal background, including like even if you've ever been arrested, it literally shows up. Even if you've been arrested and it never actually dings on your record because you were arrested 10 years ago, as I was. That still shows up. It's the most comprehensive database that they have. And after looking through that, there's an interview process. You do the interview process. They ask you questions about it, whatever. And they give you a card. I have the card, a known traveler, like a global entry pass. Okay. This card in and of itself is basically like your social security number. It has the same power of as your passport. Like you could literally have this card with you when you're traveling in most circumstances, and it basically plays the same role as a passport or identification. Okay, so they gave me that card and you know all this stuff. So in any case, it's like Disney Fast Pass. Okay, it's a real ID. It's the same as like a real ID. So global entry is not a passport, but it's to the same. Like I think you can literally. I don't want to misinform people, but I'm pretty sure you can. It plays the same role as a real ID. Like it plays the same role as like your real ID driver's license. When were you arrested? 2013. It's been a long time ago. It's irrelevant. And I never got charged or convicted with anything. I never even got prosecuted. But in any case, let's continue. So after a careful review, determined global entry program membership was revoked because you do not meet the guidelines for the participation. An individual is ineligible to participate in the trusted travel program if CBP at its sole discretion determines the individual potential. We already did that. So they gave me the global entry program. They gave me the access to the global entry program, and then they just revoked it. At no point was I informed about this revocation. They didn't even tell me about it in the detention. Okay. Only after I asked this redress inquiry do they reveal this. The Department of Homeland Security itself came out with a statement and they didn't even mention it, which is crazy. And when I'm like, I mean, there's no reason for this revocation to begin with, especially because like I already had it. I had it and they revoked it. I believe it wasn't retroactively revoked. It was retroactively revoked regardless, as in it was revoked, but it wasn't retroactively revoked. It was revoked I got the conditional approval on 3/29/2024. I got the approval notification on 2/6/2025. I got my card in the mail, under the Trump administration. The revocation happened on the 5th of March, so months ago. Okay? Yeah, I believe global entry just lets officials know that you aren't banned from traveling to any other countries. Some have laws restricting travel for people convicted of certain crimes. No, global entry is a fast pass for land border crossing as well. Yeah. Global entry can be used at the point of entering the country through a land border. And that's what I meant when I said like it basically fills the role of a passport in that regard. Now, anyway, so all of this stuff, applicant cannot satisfy CBP or of his or her low risk status or meet other program requirements. So these are all of the boilerplate reasons as to why they put it in here, that someone might lose their global entry status. The applicant is the subject of an investigation by any federal, state, or local law enforcement agency in any country. The applicant is inadmissible to the United States under applicable immigration laws or has at any time been granted a waiver of inadmissibility or parole. The applicant is known or suspected of having been engaged in conduct constituting in preparation for, in aid of, or related to terrorism, or it cannot satisfy CBP. So it's discretionary, and they don't even say anything in it. They don't even say anything like the Customs and Border Patrol doesn't actually reveal any real information on why this happened. In the event you are denied or revoked from the Trusted Traveler Program, they don't even specify why I was detained. They don't specify why I was detained because part of my inquiry on the redress to Department of Homeland Security's trip was I have global entry, and even then I got stopped. What the is that about? So the Customs and Border Patrol part of this that specifically talks about the global entry says oh no, your global entry has been revoked. But they never address why I was stopped to begin with. They never actually address why those questions were asked, because these are the questions that I asked in my inquiry. Okay. In the event you are denied or revoked from the Trusted Traveler Program, you'll be provided information in writing detailing the reason for this action. You should carefully review the denial or revocation reasons, and if applicable, submit a detailed information they believe CBP should consider. I can reapply or ask them to reverse this decision which I might try doing. But considering that I did look into the notification as to why it was revoked, okay, you may request reconsideration through the Trusted Traveler Program application website, which I will do, okay? It was revoked before it was issued? No. It was issued on 3/29/2024 under the Biden administration. That's when I got a conditional approval. I got a full-blown approval on 2/6/2025, which was under the Trump administration. I got a revocation on the 5th of March in 2025, literally almost a month after I got a full-blown approval and had the card sent to my house, okay? And at no point did I know that this was taken away. At no point did they actually reveal that it was taken away. Like even when I was detained, they didn't go, "Hey, you don't have global entry. Get your dad to help you out." What the can my dad do, bro? What are you, stupid? So date of denial and reason for the letter they received, all this stuff, this is just basically, again, boilerplate. So everything that I asked for in terms of like inquiry, why the stop happened, what can I do to avoid this kind of disruption to my travel in the future, I have no answers for. I have no answers for whatsoever. I have no answers for why my new guy hit the office, search your name, and exercise their sole discretion to declare you untrustworthy. Okay, I don't know about that. But yeah, they just basically gave like these boilerplate answers. And here is, hold on, you guys didn't see, because I read this from my phone, because I screenshotted it from my phone. Hold on. I'll pull up this, the trip thing as well, or not the trip thing, the revocation. Dear Hasan Piker, thank you for your participation in the Global Entry Program of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Global Entry is a voluntary program available to travelers that pass a comprehensive background investigation. Applicants found to be ineligible for global entry participation may still be permitted to enter into the United States, although they will not be permitted to use the global entry dedicated lanes. We regret to inform you that your membership in the global entry has been revoked for the following reasons. You do not meet program eligibility requirements. First world issues. I mean, I get why you would say that, and I agree. Like, who gives a if I don't have global entry, right? I agree. I'd never had it, and I've been traveling for years and years without having it. But I think getting it and then having it revoked unceremoniously with no reason, like they don't say what the reason is other than this, okay? Like that in and of itself is what makes this interesting. Bro, you should sue the government. Okay, dude, good luck. Get out of here, dude. I don't want to get like, chatters are so funny. This is not a point in the battle, okay, in the legal battle. I mean, I would like more details as to why this took place. I think that would be interesting to find out more information on. But as far as like not having global entry, like that's insignificant and inconsequential. I'm more so worried about, you already know the reason, ... you're an idiot. Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah, that's what it is. The American government doesn't allow stupid people to enter the country, famously. Also, you're an idiot. So, I don't know, man. It's pretty obvious that some TPSA that works at DHS recognized your name and went, F that guy. I mean, I have had the Department of Homeland Security Deputy Director, Tricia McLaughlin, refer to me by name. So I think that they are aware of who I am. But I guess my point is, it's the clown show that this is. You know what I mean? It's the clown show of this entire process that is frustrating, and it is the lack of transparency. Like, these are things that American institutions used to at least hold up, right? There was an infallibility to the institutions, or at least like a process. Even this process of like redress, right? Going to the Department of Homeland Security and being like, why was I detained? How can I stop this from happening again? Like this sort of stuff used to work, right? This sort of stuff used to work. And what is different? And it didn't work super great, but at least it existed. At least it worked to a certain degree. Jeremy Scahill famously talked about how he used to get secondary questioning or detention all the time when he would enter into the United States, because he was in Yemen, he was in Afghanistan, he was in Iraq, he was like traveling all around the region and doing journalism And even under the Obama administration, he would constantly get dinged, right? There's never been a moment where he's ever been able to travel into the United States without additional scrutiny and interrogations. And it got to such a degree that at JFK, he lucked out and got the same DHS agent twice, which in two different points of travel. And then the agent was like, what the is this? Why am I constantly having to interview you over the same questions? And then he went and changed it internally so the DHS wouldn't actually stop him in the future. But again, that process had some degree of transparency. Like you have the law needs to be abided by, and there is a reason why the law exists. There's a reason why the law determines that like there needs to be transparency in this process, that the federal government can't just like deny, especially when it's the government doing this. It's not a private company doing it, right? Like the Department of Homeland Security making this decision is infinitely more consequential than like a private business deciding to like ban you off the platform, right? Like there's no need for transparency. The transparency in that regard for a private corporation is at the discretion of the private corporation. But when it comes to the government making decisions like this, there is a reason why there has to be transparency, because it's the government. You know, you're really wondering why our global entry was revoked, LMFAO, because you are in the U.S. with the luxuries. What the? I think a lot of you are too stupid to recognize what I'm saying here, and it makes sense. You're a right-winger, so of course, right-wingers are not known for being intelligent. I'm not complaining about my global entry being revoked, okay? I don't care. I traveled without it for years and years and years, but the very fact that they gave it to me and then took it away and then did not inform me on what the reasoning was beyond you do not meet program eligibility requirements, that in itself, that lack of transparency in and of itself is a little alarming. Do you understand? It's just a interesting predicament. You know, the reason it was revoked is because you're bad at eldering? Yes. And I guess the other side of it is like, look, if it can happen to someone like myself, who is a public personality with a relatively large sphere of influence, who is relatively affluent, right? Then they can get away with doing whatever the they want to the average Joe. People such as yourself in the chat who are haters and lovers alike. Okay?